Peter, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you for the instruction, and welcome to the Copilot Community Conference at 4:30 p.m. Yeah, that's a long day, I know, but I hope that with my session I will bring up some more shadows. They are existing currently with some light into computer use functionality within Copilot. I do have prepared 7 slides, and then we're going to the live demonstration because I think computer use can't be taught within slides. The slides are just to give you the, let's say, correct directions, because maybe you want to try this in your own environment and you won't see everything I will do today. That's the reason why I will start with some slides. But before, just a few minutes, a few sentences about me. I'm Peter. I work at Base IT as a lead architect, currently mostly for Copilot topics. Of course, Copilot Studio is the next part and thing I will work on, and sometimes also Foundry is a functionality I use daily. So about my history, I'm since 2001 in the IT, so many years there. I have done a lot of stuff from Exchange beginning. Do you know System Center products? I've worked with them, with Orchestrator, with Service Manager. And then I went back to the, let's say, typical cloud services like Exchange Online Migrations, SharePoint, OneDrive, and so on. And then there was this 2023 year when ChatGPT was released. And shortly afterwards, it was Bing Chat Enterprise there. And since then, I work with the, let's say, Copilot. You see it on the slide. We have 3 renames in that time. Work intensively with Copilot adaptation, technically everything you want to know about Copilot. I'm your responsible guy for that. I do a lot of speaks, a lot of talks, either on public talks like this one. I'm very happy, by the way. Thank you to all the sponsors to take my session to bring you computer use and the functionality of Copilot there during my session here. A bit better. So to follow me, that is my LinkedIn QR code, my LinkedIn profile. I will share my slide deck there. Of course, the recording you will find later on the Copilot Community Conference YouTube channel. So this will be prepared by the sponsors, by the organization, organizers of the conference itself. First of all, what is computer use? Because you may not heard of that naming currently. Well, computer use in a simple way is instruct an agent to do jobs on your own. So that means really the agent can do instructions and do some steps within a virtual computer or a virtual browser. It depends on the technology you're using. If it is a full computer or a browser, we will see this in the demonstrations, but it's the main idea. So no longer persons are clicking. The agent itself, the technology itself, is clicking through websites, through applications, and whatever. From a technical perspective, the typical way to use computer use would be that you have an application or a service that is not available through a typical API connectivity. So you want to automate something, you have a software where there is no API, no automatic interaction is possible. Then computer use could be for you. Well, it clicks through sites, it clicks through applications. We will see this in the live demonstration, and it adapts its tasks as it is ongoing. The best way to show this, and I hope that during my demonstration I will do everything live and there this will happen, is the cookies banner. Yeah, you know it, you're going to a website and there is a cookie banner. A typical robot process automation would fail, for instance, if the banner is moving away, or sometimes the banner is there or it's not there. So that is no problem for computer use because it's much more intelligent than typical robot process automation. So where the browser or computer is running is a little bit depending on the solution you're using, because I will show you 3 different solutions Microsoft already has where we can use computer use. First of it is Microsoft Research Agent. You may have heard of this agent already because it's part of the premium license of Microsoft 365 Copilot. And then we have the addition in Copilot Studio. so it's also available there. Be aware they're only in US preview environments. So yes, correct, computer use in Copilot Studio is technically available, but as we have a lot of attendees, I think, from Europe there, the problem with US environments is they are not within our European Union data boundary. So keep this in mind, but technically it is available. And then we have Project Opal. I think maybe none of you have heard of this because it's a special frontier solution from Microsoft, available for users that have the premium license of Microsoft 365 Copilot. And an administrator is required to set this up. So it's not there by default. There needs to be some configuration done. For computer use, it's only the way to the admin center, to the Microsoft 365 admin center, and defining which users should use this. All those three options, how to configure them and so on, I will show to you during computer use is working for me because I do have time to do other things. And that's a perfect way to show you how computer use can change your work and your life balance. The next thing, the requirements, I told you already about them. A few of them require the premium edition of Microsoft 365 Copilot. So what does that mean? If you're opening the typical chat interface of Copilot, I will show this to you, and you have the basic information on the left corner side, then it's not available to you because there is a specific license missing in your environment or in your organization for your person that you can use this. If you're an administrator, just assign you yourself the Copilot license, the premium license, and you can work further with computer use. And for Copilot Studio, just to remember, it really requires currently an US deployed Power Platform environment. Otherwise, the computer use functionality, it's visible already, but it's grayed out in European Power Platform environments, so you can't use this. So if you don't see all the options I use, and I will show it to you during my demonstration, that could be because you're not in the right Power Platform environment, or your administrators did not configure the requirements to use computer use. And if you're the administrator, I will show you how you can configure this, of course. Well, that's all. That's all for slides, because as I mentioned, computer use needs to be shown in a live demonstration. So now let me switch to my lab environment, and I would like to start with the environment where I can use computer use within the researcher agent. The research agent we will find in a typical Copilot environment. And for your information specifically, I have heard already during other tracks today, the entropic functionality in Copilot. Just for your information, this functionality is enabled there. And if you can read right now here, refined by Claude, for instance, that's the reason why in this environment is the entropic subprocessor is enabled. It does nothing have to do with computer use currently. Yeah, just that you know why is entropic there, and I don't see it. That's the reason why, because the subprocessor agreement here in my environment is enabled. Well, to use researcher and enable computer use, we require to have this option here to be clicked on, computer use. And the first time when you're doing this, there is a message telling you about the, let's say, regulations and rules about computer use. Yeah, in my environment, I went a lot of times already with computer use, so this specific message won't be shown already. And then it tells me why should I research today. If you haven't used researcher currently or in the last time, to be honest, not a lot of people do really know the functionality of researcher. It's such a great agent that can support you in, for instance, doing a market research or even doing a research through your emails, which topics, which tasks are required, how many time you would require. There are a lot of, let's say, different functionalities to do this, but researcher could be one of it. Well, the idea for today was I will give researcher a specific task, and the task is go to the Copilot Community Conference website, And the main idea is to generate a convince my boss information why you should attend also the next Copilot Community Conference. Yeah, so you can use Researcher for this with computer use. I will enter here a very long prompt. I did generate this prompt with Copilot. I just did enable GPT 5.3 with the quick answer functionality and told GPT it should generate a nice prompt here for our researcher agent while using computer use. And the primary functionality is the convince my boss functionality there. Yeah, so it should select the business value of attending, of course, the Copilot Community Conference. All the relevances, you can change this based on your requirements, of course. And the important thing right now is when I click on Start here, is first of all, researcher in general typically does not directly execute my request, except for it understands everything. In a prompt I execute, typically everything is clear and structured. And what we can already see here, let me make the window a little bit smaller. It is now running up a virtual browser instance hosted within a Microsoft data center. I did not set up anything for this, so that's totally prepared by Microsoft. And we can now see the screens where researcher agent is clicking through the website, exploring the information there, getting the required informations, and doing his job. Now you might ask, why do I use researcher for this and not just a simple chat prompt? Well, if you're a, let's say, knowledge person about Copilot and many other AI systems, you know that none of those are able to really retrieve and updated information from a website. What does that mean? Mostly the chat functionality you have in Copilot is retrieving the information from a Bing search. So that means the information needs to be in the Bing search index. And if the information is not there, the chat is not able to figure out the details of that, for instance, conference. So now when we make changes on the website, changes on the agenda, for instance, changes on the topics, they might not be reflected directly in the Bing search index, of course. And computer use is the functionality to go live on the site, checking all the details. And as we can see, it's really clicking through all the different pages. We do see screenshots. It's trying to figure out which options, which menu bars are there, and clicking through everything. And afterwards, and it will take some time, of course, yeah, we will get the summary of the site and hopefully a nice convince my boss functionality summary, yeah, for the next Copilot Community Conference. So this is one use of computer use. Yeah. So in researcher, you're typically using it to going to websites, retrieving information, live information, and then giving or generating a specific output. You might now be wondering, what is when the website is behind a username password? Yeah. Or a username and password is required to get the information of the site. Well, that is very nice because you can do two different use cases or two different functions. You can use two different functions here. First of all would be you can provide the credentials in the prompt. I would not recommend this because the prompt itself is text, so it is visible in your conversation history, and the password is visible to you or maybe others when you're doing a screen sharing or something like this. So if the information is behind a typical username password, even a multi-factor authentication could be there as a, let's say, blocker for computer use. That's fine, because researcher will stop and inform you that there is a sign-in required for that site. I've prepared another demonstration where we go into the details how the credentials part work. And Then I can take over the session. And when taking over the session, I can enter username, password, doing MFA, whatever is required to access the information on the site, and then returning back the session, to the agent itself. So while researcher is working here, let's go to the next functionality and later see the task has finished. Hopefully it will finish, and see our convince my boss text in there. The next thing is, in my environment here, you can see Frontier, and within Frontier, we have this Opal Frontier configuration available. Again, this is only available if an administrator has enabled Opal in your environment. Let's discuss a little bit about the, let's say, what happens in the background for Opal. Because in Opal, the great thing is we are using Windows 365 computers there. So in the Intune portal, we do have our Cloud PC overview. And depending on the number of virtual machines you have deployed for Opal, a device pool will be generated. And in my environment, I do have 2 virtual computers totally managed by the Opal service. I never created a manually policy, device pool, whatever. That everything happens during the admin installation process of Opal in your environment. Technically spoken, it means you need to execute the PowerShell script from Microsoft provided for the Opal configuration, and the configuration is done with a huge PowerShell script provided by Microsoft. In the backend, those Windows 365 PCs will be generated. By the way, those PCs are Entra-joined devices in your environment. So that means if you need access, for instance, managed by conditional access, those cloud PCs are able to access those resources. The cloud PC itself will do a sign-in with the person that is requesting the Opal functionality. So users that are then later using Opal from here are just starting. I won't click here because it will make a new window, but I just want to keep the researcher there just that you can see it's still working on it. It will open our Opal user interface. And in the Opal user interface, users now are giving jobs to the service, and the service will execute them. While clicking on new, information is showing up with the details that we can now enter the task that Opal should be executed. Well, the task that I want to do is right now is a task to go to a specific website. It's one of my employees' website right now, and it should sign me up for an event. So that's the idea of what Opal should do right now. When I click on start, and just to give you the idea here is the virtual PCs, the Windows 365 PCs, will now be started in the backend. So they are provisioned. And as you can see right now, we are in a typical boot process of a Windows machine. We are seeing now the sign-in functionality. I can make this a little bit larger, not really. And the main difference now already to researcher and computer use is at any time I can take control of this virtual machine. So if the Opal service or if the execution of my task, for instance, is not running as I would like to see it, I can take over control of the VM at any time. I can do manual steps, whatever is required that maybe the Opal or my task I have provided to Opal can be executed. And later on, I just give control back to the agent, and then the agent will complete the initial task. And what you will see right now is I did, by the way, a few tests with it before. And on our website, we will see this later on, we have a really strange problem for an agent. Let me show this live currently, just that we don't need to wait for it. We have this here. This is, let's say, the idea where we go to our events. And we do have in the task, it should sign me up for the event of the security shift. And if people now think, hey, there is the security shift, let's click on the security shift. There is no link behind it. Yeah, so now we can say, wow, what a bad idea, don't providing a link there. Well, yes, it's below, secure your place there. So it's really hard for AI, of course, to identify, hey, I can't click there. Yeah, that's not possible. Well, AI will do this. Yeah, and that's the nice thing about Opal. Let me see here. It's now opening the browser. Then we will see it starting the website. And what you can see here and think, wow, is that slow? Well, yes, that's true. That's the current technology. Computer use only works in doing screenshots. Every page opening the browser, the agent service is taking a screenshot, is checking where do the VMs stay, where is it currently. Okay, the browser is open, I can now enter the website. I will enter the website. And now we have this cookie information. I never provided the agent any idea of what you should do with a cookie request there. And as you can see here, it's always informing about, let's say, some more details, what the page is doing. We are now opening the website for the event sign up. By the way, I can make this smaller, and at any time I can instruct Opal to do something else, maybe additionally during the task. I want to change the task or itself. So that's all possible. And while now the Opal service is trying to figuring out, where can we access now and where can we register now for the event, all the additional steps like accepting cookies on site will be done fully automatically. Yeah. So it's now trying navigating to data security shift. Well, that sounds great, but Opal is required to make screenshot per screenshot and checking out where is there information about the data security shift. The first thing we already see, it's already on the tectonic subsite. Yeah, so it's the one where we have our events. And then it's scrolling through, where can I find the data security shift? As we can see here, it's already there. Now Opal is scrolling down a bit more, analyzing the screen again, and we already see the sign in now. Yeah, so the button, he tries to click on this. He's on the next side. Again, screenshot by screenshot, the information will be now checked on the site. And yes, if you have thought that computer use will replace humans, then not by being very quick. Okay, so this takes a lot of time, of course. When I say I would like to sign up for this, even if I don't know the page itself, I would have done 10 times, 20 times, 50 times quicker than computer use is doing this. But, and that's the thing you need to think of, you need to do it manually. Every step, every research, everything. And that's the idea, to hand over those tasks to computer use agents. Let's go back right now, just check where the researcher is. Okay, wow, it's still working on it. Yeah, we are seeing right now, let me see, it's on the Copilot Community Conference in the archive. Yeah, so also the archive site was checked here. Then there were maybe an idea of Copilot that link could be exist, or he tried to really click on a link, and maybe the link is dead already. So noticing a 404 error, I'm exploring the site's navigation. Yeah, maybe I was wrong there. And that's very nice. Yeah, so the agent itself is such intelligent to identify, let's say, such errors, and not stopping and to saying, hey, I can't do any further job right now. So that's really nice to see that. Yeah, that's really AI intelligence there to navigating through a site and detecting errors, checking errors, or whatever. So while research is still working, while Opal is still working. Opal is already, let's see, yeah, that seems to be right. And as you can see here, Opal is now waiting for response. Yeah, and navigated to the registration form, yeah, for the event. And the form now does have a few different fields to fill out. And it tells me at the end, I will fill out the form and ask you confirming for your confirmation before submitting it. So I have now two options. Option one is provide all the details here in the chat. Or the next thing would be take control. Yeah, so both options are available. As I do have two screens, yeah, just that it is easier for me to copy over those prompts and so on. What you did not see, and I prepared a screenshot for it from another try, was the following. In the right corner, where you typically see your Outlook notifications or your Teams notifications, Opal sent a notification so that I'm aware of that there is something to do right now for me. So that's really nice because you don't need to, let's say, check all the time. Is the agent working or does it not work? Has it stopped? Is there any problem about it? Opal will inform you proactively with a typical Windows notification banner on the right corner side where all your notifications will be shown. So that is really cool. Yeah, so that you know, okay, there is some issue. I need to now take over, either control or give the agent more instruction, more details to work with it. For now, I will take over the control so that you see how this happens. With takeover control, I will get this, to be honest, small window here, but right now I'm controlling the virtual machine. And I can now enter everything that is required, yeah, to sign up for that event. And at the end, all I need to do is, and I just will do it without filling in anything, yeah, I will just return control right now. And then you can see that I took control, and then the agent, the Opal service, is now verifying form details. I did not enter anything, as you have seen. So it's not only, well, the user, of course, has done everything that was required. Yeah, he's checking what I did. And Opal should now inform me that there is no information in there, and that Opal requires to fill out the form. And yeah, again, it should let me know that yeah, there is some missing information before we can go further with it. So while let's have a look on Researcher, it's still working. Well, that's fine because you have seen I did a lot of work between starting the Researcher agent and right now, and that's the same what you can achieve in your daily business work. Give work to your agents and you can do some other stuff there. Well, of course, it's now sometimes clear, or it will now, there'll be a message, yeah, that the information is missing again. But I think you have seen how this here can work in Opal. Well, I have used right now our website again. The nice thing here is it's a Windows 365 PC, and you can install your own application from your organization, for instance. Yeah, and let's do Opal the job. So if you have an older software in your organization where no such API or robot process automation tools are available, maybe Opal could do the job. It's an invoicing application. It's an old enterprise resourcing planning, yeah, an ERP system and CRM system, whatever. Yeah, if it is just a browser tool, as you can see, we can navigate through browsers. The agent does understand all the things that are on the screen, and that's really, really nice to handle. While research is working, and as you see, yeah, still the recheck of the information did not work. Yeah, so it's not just accepting what the user has done, it's validating the input. Opal is still waiting for my input to register here. Well, let's beyond that, or let's end this use case here in Opal. There are a lot of, again, functionalities available here because I have the next thing that I want to show you That's the Copilot Studio part of computer use. The Copilot Studio part of computer use is interesting in a way of, I do have an agent here. Again, it should be in an US environment. We really named it, yeah, so quite fine. Copilot Studio Preview US 01, and a pay-as-you-go subscription is also behind this environment. That's the requirement to use this. Let's have a look into this agent. How does the configuration look like? Well, first of all, it's very easy. The agent itself does have a few instructions there, but to be honest, those are, not really detailed, these instructions. Of course, the tasks itself are very detailed, which tools you can use, which input scheme for if that is required, or so on. Response rules we have in there, and of course the workflow steps itself. So it seems to be very complicated, but again, I think 95% of those instructions are generated with Copilot. Yeah, so that's really AI should take over building instructions. As of now, I do have the model GPT-5. Yeah, as I mentioned in my environment, I could use also the Anthropic models there. But for that, what the agent should be doing is GPT-5 chat completely fine. Yeah, there is no other model in any form required. The main logic and the main intelligence is behind the tools, because within tools, I do have added the computer use tool. So you just add a tool, and in the add tool, you do have this add new computer use functionality in a preview, and that's because this is in a US environment. Within that configuration, and that's more or less the intelligence of the computer use functionality, we have an own set of instruction. And what you can see here is it should do a securely log on to teslafy.com. It should navigate to the charger section, and then it should retrieve there the date for the last month. Yeah, so we're not saying today is that day, and being in the last month should be from the 1st to the 31st, or 30th, or February 29, 28. We're just talking to the agent the last month, and the intelligence of AI should do the rest. And then it should generate a concise report of all the charging details. And in Copilot Studio, we do have some functionality that is not available in Researcher and not available in Opal. And the interesting thing here is the credentials part. Because Copilot Studio does have the functionality to use credentials stored in an Azure Key Vault. So you can securely store your credentials, your username, your password for the websites, and then assign them within the tools, within the computer tools section, to the agent itself. Yeah. So that's a really nice functionality there. Yeah. So that we don't need to enter any credentials. And that can be used, of course, then later on in fully autonomous agents again, because there is maybe the requirement to get a specific information from a website behind a username and password signing. Multi-factor authentication could be complicated, of course, in an autonomous agent, because the flow of the autonomous agent will be broken if there is a person required to do the multi-factor stuff. But well, yes, if it is your own multi-factor authentication, like an authenticator from Microsoft providing a number matching or something like this, you will see this request on your phone, and even this could be, completed. But multi-factor, of course, that is complicated here. But you can access this. And then for security reasons, I did not show the details here in Researcher and Opal, but right now here in Copilot Studio, I can define what are the websites the agent is allowed to browse to. So from a security perspective, you're limiting the agent to only this website. If there is an attacker trying, let's say, to do some bad things with that agent, it's not possible. Yes, it may be possible because with that single site, we can retrieve information, and having the data stored to or given back to the attacker. Of course, yes, that could be possible, but that's a technical limitation we can set there, that the agent is only allowed to go to specific websites. And all I need to do right now here is, for instance, use the tool computer use and generate the report. Of course, there are many ways that you can start this agent there. I just use one right now in a simple task. When the agent does understand my request, it should be preparing again this hosted browser session, as we have seen the virtual instances in Researcher and in Opal, and should complete then my request. Well, it seems, maybe because the site was opened itself, I did have this in the past sometimes, that the request was not completely understood by my agent. Let me refresh the site. I have seen this sometimes in the computer use functionality, that if the site is opened, and then I'm doing a request, nothing is happening. But I hope that for demonstration purposes, this will work. Because I did know that there might be some issues there, with the test functionality, I did prepare a video about it, but it seems now to be working. It should now then let me know, hey, I'm starting now up the computer. Computer use will begin as soon as a computer use is available. So it seems to be identifying that I already started a session in the background. That was the information I did not see, let's say, in the user interface, but it seems in the background the computer use tried already to start this session. And as you can see, I only can have one hosted browser session. I need to wait. That's now a big problem because I can't stop this session. It's in the back end from Microsoft. So in Copilot Studio, when you use this, that could be sometimes a little bit buggy right now. But that's the reason why it's still in preview. Well, just let me see. I should have prepared it here. The main problem is I did do the demonstration with the Tesla Fee website in my video. Let me see, in Opal. Well, that's very bad right now. Let me retry it, but I think we will hit the same error there. I would lovely to show you how the sign-in is done automatically there. So that you can see the credentials will be used there. But I think in general, you're getting the message there. So for autonomous agents like executing the details fully autonomously, you can do this in Copilot Studio, as you can share the credentials within the Azure Key Vault there. Let's give it just one try, to see if it's coming back with the same error message, because I would have to rebuild the agent, that a new agent ID is then calling the hosting browser session. Otherwise, I'm not exactly sure what the timeout is, to be honest. There is a timeout because the idea is that not always a new hosted browser session needs to be deployed when the agent, for instance, is running every 3 minutes. But there is a timeout, and I need to wait for this timeout that we can start with the session there. Get the report with computer use. Let's try it again. Just let's see if it is still getting back with the information I need to wait. That seems to be better, because computer use will begin as soon as a computer is available. That means in the background is now the computer starting. And there is a little bit difference to the other tools, as you can see. In Opal, we are seeing the site starting itself, the VM starting. And here we all have, let me make this a little bit larger there, a little bit smaller from the zoom level there. We have the same, let's say, instruction set, so users can have a look into this. And we are now seeing screenshots, in doing the sign-in. By the way, for test purposes, well, that's interesting. Switching to Chrome browser. I have no idea why the agent is doing this right now. I'm astonished, because I think there is only the Edge browser on the computer use. Or that's very interesting, because the browser is hosted for Microsoft. Well, and that seems to be very interesting that it tries to use the Chrome browser there. And here it's
Maybe
the
the
thing.
next time he installs Mac OS.
Yeah. Go for Safari. Yeah, correct. Correct. Well, and now the demonstration did not work as I expected. Yeah, I do have an error, and it tells me right now the Tesla 5 password was not found in this key vault. Well, that's very interesting. To be honest, I think 15 minutes before my session right now, I did a change in the password. Yeah, the reason behind was I wanted to use and completely other demonstration for today. The idea was that I will do a registration for the Copilot Community Conference, and I tested this a few days ago. The bad thing was our sponsors of the conference today blocked, of course, the sign up for the event for today. And I did this, I think, 30 minutes before my talk right now. Yeah, and I figured out, oh, that's a problem. I can't use this use case. And I wanted to reset my password there, just if I needed to enter it, show it to anyone. And well, it seems that I made some mistakes here in the key vault there. So the password is no longer assigned to the agent, but you're getting the idea there. Yeah, very sorry that this demonstration did not work. Typically, of course, now the agent will do an automatic sign-in, and yeah, will guide you then. Will through the website, will click on the charges section, will enter automatically the previous month date, and generate the report, and will present you the output then here. So a few minutes I have left just to switch back. Let's see if researcher is ready. Yeah, I hope that researcher is ready. Well, sorry, something went wrong. Well, that seems to be okay. That's the end, let's say. Researcher is ready. And that's the nice thing of researcher. If you want to have a very detailed information now about all the, let's say, information about the speaker, as you can see, it's still loading. There's something, but I just will click through. That's a lot of information you're getting there. And somewhere, I think, and hopefully at the end, okay, it's the full session, the full text, of course. Here's my convince my boss. Yeah, the executive justification why we should attend the next Copilot Community Conference. Well, with this, I'm at the end in general of my presentation. As you have seen, a lot of things happen in the background. I was able to inform you about how it works, what you can do. And Daniel, you mentioned this before, question mark, yeah, computer use. Will this be the human replacement? Well, it's your decision. Yeah, the more you give to agents and they work standalone if they can, then yes. If you're still working like you have worked the last 5 years, 2 years, 20 years, whatever time frame you are working in your life, and you won't be replacing, let's say, humans at all, human work. But I think it's time to get hands-on with the computer use functionality, because this will be more and more integrated in Microsoft systems and will be the future how AI agent will support us. Thank you. Thank you for being with me at that time, of course. Yeah. So it's a very long day, but stay tuned. Yeah. Daniel, I will hand over to you and
the forums.
And
we are very sorry for closing the forums and destroying the demo.
Yeah, I was not aware of that. Yeah, so that's fine.
Very interesting. Thank you very much, Peter. I have one question. I mean, 3 different possibilities. I think you also like rank them a little bit depending on the, I would say, complexity of implementation and usage. How would you advise people? I mean, when would computer use come in as a possible element of a feature? So which kind of use cases do you see from customers where you say, hey, you know what, we need computer, or we could use computer use to benefit? Do you have anything in mind?
Yes, we did talk about customers with, let's say, researching in primarily in legal questions. So they have access to specific tools where legal questions can be answered, primarily for the Austrian law, of course. There are tools available. I'm pretty sure they're not only in Austria available, they are in every country available, but you need to pay for them. And you get more details than in the, let's say, public law informations you're getting from typical websites there. So, and the idea is, if I have a specific question, yeah, and I need to research for that, that's a typical research task, computer use can be used there. Yeah, and we do have already customers testing computer use, primarily right now in Researcher. Why in Researcher? Because in Researcher, we have the possibility to generate this huge output that is most often required for such law questions, for such questions in general. So yes, of course, we're already working with customers there. Primarily right now, again, in Researcher. Opal, well, we had discussions as it is currently still in preview and, well, sometimes, to be honest, limited, of course, from the functionality that is available. We don't have really use cases right now. Yeah, and the fully autonomous agents like we can do in Copilot Studio, well, that's an interesting thing. Yeah, so you need to find customers there ready from their process perspective to get an autonomous agents running and use computer use, of course. And there is the main problem then there. Many of our customers right now are located in Austria, in Germany, in Switzerland, and we have this EU data boundary topic here, and general the US environment within Copilot Studio.
Yeah.
But it's coming.
It's coming. Yeah, that's
for
so cool.
Copilot Studio, I think it should before summer there. Yeah, I hope at least that it is before summer available in European environments.
Let's see. One more question, I think, or we have two more. Is computer use the new desktop flows, or what happens with the desktop flows, the RPA stuff, Peter?
Well, desktop flows from Power Automate, I think, is the, let's say, old way to automate tasks. You need to know everything, every step, let's say every pixel that is required to do your desktop flow. And that will change, of course, with computer use functionality. Last year on Ignite, I think a very limited number of users was aware of that announcement. Microsoft is working currently within a private preview of a feature called Agent Workspace. And Agent Workspace will be included directly in Microsoft Windows. And when the information that was shared at Ignite is correct, the Agent Workspace means that an agent can work on your computer like on a virtual desktop. So you're sitting in front of your computer, you're giving a specific task to an agent, and this task will be executed on your computer. So it does have access to all the information you have, to all the programs you have, but it won't interrupt your work. It is doing in parallel in a virtual desktop. And that is more, I think, the replacement of the typical desktop flow than, let's say the functionalities right now in Researcher, Opal, Copilot Studio or something like this. But I'm pretty sure that will take a lot of time to be implemented. There was just the announcement last year at Ignite. Well, we need to see how Microsoft is developing this further.